if you live in a rural community, in terms of futures thinking, I think rural communities have always been innovative because it's come out of need. We've got farming families who span over 6 generations already, and clearly there's been some future thinking by their fathers and their grandfathers to get to the place where they are now. When a father talks to his son in the yards while they're drenching ewes, and his son talks about some ideas for the property, the benefit of understanding future thinking to that property is that that conversation doesn't have to wait until the son takes over the farm. That conversation can be converted into action on that property. But I remember a Secondary Futures staff member facilitated a session in Central Otago in a quite an isolated community, and they talked about the school as kind of the hub of the community and what the community gel. They talked about transporting that kind of model into the future and what it might look like. Forming partnerships with an urban school might open up some discussions between urban and rural communities, how the place of technology can enhance innovation in a rural community, and how a school can be involved in facilitating ongoing education of people in rural communities, about keeping some glue in rural communities and exciting people about what can be achieved from their place without leaving. Secondary Futures has certainly played a part in promoting futures thing. It's been incredible. I think Federated Farmers as an organisation has always been involved in developing future leaders. It's got a real history in bringing people through into leadership positions, not only in the agricultural community and the rural community, but as New Zealand's leaders and international leaders. But if we can take some of the futures thinking that Secondary Futures has developed and as an organisation use it to enhance what agriculture might achieve in 20 years' time, to achieving it in 5 years' time, through things like use of technology to connect with markets, or reconnecting urban New Zealand with rural New Zealand, driving the place of technology on farm, creating a forum where perhaps environmental groups with entrenched views can come together with others. I can imagine a place in 20 years' time where dairy farmers are celebrated as our world leaders. They're celebrated as advancing the New Zealand economy, and they're celebrated as being world leaders in sustainability, and that people enjoy the rural landscape not just for its aesthetic purposes, but because they know it's the productive heart of our economy. But it goes beyond that. That there's a better and real connection and understanding, and people from urban New Zealand want to be involved in it. They want a part of it. They see opportunities, and they know that being involved is an exciting thing. Less and less people are taking agriculture and horticulture as a subject. Careers advisors over the years have kind of directed low achieving students into agriculture. But there is such an opportunity for integration of what our rural community does, what our world leading farmers do, into curriculum, to give people and to open up the possibility of what they can do with what farmers are producing. You take Icebreaker, for example, as a company that's done amazing things with innovation, and they have a raw product which is fine wool, predominantly from high country farms. That is an amazing product. But what Icebreaker have done, using technology, that somebody in Italy buying a garment off Icebreaker can look at what they call a barcode and have a conversation with a farmer on a high country farm about how that product was produced, in what environment it was produced, and why that farmer has a passion for what he does, and really feel and connect with the product and feel and connect with rural New Zealand. That's the advantage of thinking about and being excited about the future. I'm extremely proud of what Secondary Futures has achieved, not only for education in New Zealand, but for taking New Zealand on a great path to the future. I'm Matt Harcombe from Federated Farmers.